This woman by the name of Aliheni is a grifter and a race hustler. She literally depends on race to put food on the table. This woman has been going around town telling whoever cares to listen that white people are oppressing black people by being punctual to events and appointments. According to her, being on time is a depiction of white supremacy. So for that, punctuality needs to be dismantled so that black people can fully enjoy their right to lateness. This woman is not making a good case for Africans right now, and for that, Modi has to speak about it.
As a racial justice advocate, I'm often invited to give talks or to do workshops where I talk to white people about race.
Racial what? What in the world does that even mean? I can't wait to hear all she has to say.
A big part of my practice is to offer real-life stories, examples, that type of thing, that help white people to be able to identify white supremacy in everyday life. My husband's family is white, and I often use the cultural differences between my family and his family as a way to help white people see their whiteness. There's one example that I use that always gets a ton of pushback. My husband and I were late to our first Thanksgiving with his family. I say late because it started at 12. We got there at 12:10. But
so you were late then?
Whenever we got there at 12:10, everybody was already sat down and eating. I didn't know that. I use this illustration to point out that different cultures have different understandings of time, lateness, and what it means to be polite. Without fail, a white person will push back and say that lateness is impolite. I always use this as a teachable moment.
But you never use teachable moments like this to help a black narcissistic person like yourself to see your black supremacy.
I usually ask a series of pointed questions that challenge their assumptions. Sometimes it takes a lot of work. But by the end, they're able to identify how white cultural dominance works in this one small area of life, which opens the door for them to start peeling the onion.
Is this for real? What did I just watch? This is a perfect example of tell me you're racist without actually telling me you're racist. I just want to say this though, on behalf of all black people, we sincerely do not claim this woman. So according to her, black people think that lateness is polite. Someone is definitely peeling some onion because I'm over here crying my eyes out for this woman. Her entitlement and supremacy is over the roof. This woman who is heroically battling white supremacy is somehow allowing herself to be dominated and conquered by a white person because, yeah, she is married to a white man. Isn't it ironic? These black people who are always shouting white supremacy, at the end of the day, they allow themselves to be conquered by a white person in the bedroom. The theatrics, it is all business, race hustling. So this woman gets invited to a Thanksgiving by a white family. She arrived late, but somehow she is the one who is being disrespected here. The white hosts are not even polite enough to understand that even if she arrives late, they should have made an exception for her. Because why? Can't you see that she's black? Oh my God. And due to the systemic racism, the cultural racism that black people have had to endure, they are allowed to be as late as they want. And it is their right for white people to pause the event and wait for their arrival before anything continues. Madam, come closer. What was your job again?
Racial justice advocate.
No. You are a racist activist because what you are saying is you get paid for shaming and bullying white people for just being white. So you guys are trying to tell me that being on time is exclusive to white people and being late is inherently black. Oh my goodness. How in the world can someone racialize punctuality and respect for one's time? You know what, madam? I would like you to apply this logic in a train station or at the airport. If your flight says 10 o'clock, please be there by 5 after 10. You're black. I'm sure the plane is going to wait. You were rude and impolite to this host. You were the one who showed disrespect for their time by being late for Thanksgiving, yet you are still the one crying wolf. You guys are doing too much. Just stop. And before I forget, let me just put it out there that punctuality is not an ethnicity thing and neither is lateness. It is in these moments that I like to say, Habibi, come to my country, because where I come from, we are expected to be disciplined and coordinated when it comes to time. In my country, if school time says 7:30, and you are there anytime later, my dear, you will not be reprimanded. You will be whooped. If your interview starts by 8 o'clock and you arrive anytime later, just go home. My father is extremely time conscious. He plans down to the last minute, if you can say that. And newsflash, he's African. Some people are quite disciplined and take other people's time seriously, while some people just don't care. You, madam, do not care about other people's time, and that is disrespectful and impolite. But most importantly, Don't expect people with respect for good values to jump down to your low standards simply because you're a black person. And again, thank you for making me understand that people like my dad, who are very time conscious, are coons and Uncle Toms, who are only trying to help white people facilitate their white supremacist agenda. Even though my dad is over here in Africa and might have never been in a white space in his life before, it was good of you to put up the note on the screen and I read it clearly. Thanks for this teachable moment. And the funniest thing is that this woman didn't see that she was making black people look bad. She was painting black people as a bunch of indisciplined retards who don't understand the concept of time, because she went on to solidify her claim with subsequent videos.
Hey, this is my own comment, and it's in reference to the video that I did about punctuality and white culture. I'm pretty sure if you tap it, it'll take you back to the original video. But I wanted to expound on this a little bit. Specifically, I wanted to challenge white people to expand their thinking on this topic. The most common type of comment that I saw in the original video was some version of, "I'm white and I'm always late." I don't think that people were trying to refute the premise of the original video, but I do think that white people were trying to distance themselves from this particular feature of white culture. Here's where I want y'all to dig a little bit deeper. This is something that I notice white people do a lot whenever we talk about whiteness. There's an acknowledgement that a certain type of whiteness exists, but also an attempt to say, oh no, I'm not that type of white person. Here's the problem with that. A lot of times whenever you try to distance yourself from an aspect of whiteness, you're actually reinforcing that aspect of whiteness. So going back to the original example, when you say that you're late, you're still operating under dominant cultured constructs of time and punctuality. You're still being white about it. Here's what you missed. There are people who view the world very differently from you. And so you have to train your brain to be able to see things from a different perspective.
Perfect. What an articulate bunch of gibberish. This is what I always talk about whenever I address white people lowering their standards just to please an angry black person. Bottom line is, no matter what you do, you will never be good enough. No, if you're a white person and you are a perpetual late goer, you still have white supremacy. Why? Because you notice that despite being white, you often go late. And if you're white and you actually have respect for people's time, then you are also a white supremacist because of your punctuality. For this race hustler, you can never win because all she cares about is selling racism. This woman is the kind of person that will accuse a black person of trying to be white if the black person is a hard worker, speaks fluent English, is punctual to events, keeps a good credit score, etc. The worst part of this is that even though the propaganda that this race hustler is pushing is extremely detrimental to the black community, some black people will still see her videos and still support and encourage her. On the other hand, I personally will forever understand that time is money. Time is a precious commodity. You cannot buy it or get it back when it is lost. So being on time shows respect for other people's time, and lateness would be a ridiculous measure of politeness. But if she wants to make the argument that white people are inherently respectful and socially aware of other people's time, then who am I to say otherwise? The tortures I go through every day to react to these insane videos, believe me guys, it is not easy. So I urge you to support me by subscribing to my channel, like and share this video, and it is totally free, and it will also encourage me to keep making more videos. And as you all do this, please bear it in mind that I do not know much. I just speak.